if you knew you were enough? What would your life look like? What would love look like? This is the Enough Factor broadcast, where we're redefining what makes you enough in life and in love. Now here's your host, Suzette Duvernay. Hello everybody, it's your life coach and relationship solutionist, Suzette Duvernay, and welcome to my Enough Factor podcast. I so appreciate that out of all the podcasts you could be listening to right now, you decided to tune into mine. And if you're new, what I want you to know is this podcast is all about helping high-achieving women over 40 to redefine what makes them enough on their own terms so they can attract great love into their lives. How do we do it? We amplify 3 critical factors: your voice, your value, and your vision. And so each week, we challenge any ideology, any limiting belief, any disconnect or compromise, or any story that you're telling yourself that says otherwise. It is a cloudy and misty rain kind of day. The perfect day to snuggle up with something hot to drink and a good series. One of the ones that I have fallen in love with is Cherish the Day. I didn't see season 1, but I've begun to watch season 2. It's about this couple, Sunday, that's her name, and the man is Ellis. And these are 2 individuals who were high school sweethearts, and then, of course, went on taking different paths in life, and they find themselves back in each other's company again. She is now an aspiring chef who is on the road to becoming a very famous one, right? And he was on the trajectory, I would say, of being a professional athlete. But then something happened, and as a result, he took up plumbing, got married, and is now a single dad and soon to be divorced man. Well, their paths cross, and of course the chemistry and everything is still there. But there's one part of it that I really want to zero in on. She says to him, "I don't want to start something with someone who's not available." And he says, "I'm available." That I want to explore a little bit deeper, because as the story progresses, it becomes very, very clear that they have 2 different definitions for what being available is. At first, it's really great. You know, there's that budding romance where there's a lot of chemistry. There's remembering those special times back in high school, you know, having those talks about, you know, the path that you've been on since you've been away from each other, the ups, the downs, the chills, the spills. You're confiding in each other again, and it's easy and it's sexy, and it reminds you of all those things that you really loved about this person in your life. But then as you get more, shall I say, intense, your emotions become more intense, the chemistry won't go away. He touches you, you touch him, he hugs you, you melt in his arms, You know, the dance of attraction, the dance of chemistry, the dance of romance, the dance of what could have been, what should have been, what might could be, unfinished feelings, unfinished emotions that have been aroused, again, just by that person's presence, their smell, their aura, their smile, their energy, right? And it's funny because sometimes a decision isn't, okay, let's give it a go. It's not necessarily a conversation. Sometimes it's just that things happen. One encounter leads to another encounter. One touch leads to another touch. A kiss on the cheek leads to a kiss on the lips. And after a while, you are thinking about that person all the time. And when you get in each other's company, it's just more of the same. I think that's the way situationships happen, or friends with benefits happen. It's not that you set out to have sex with this person. It's not that you set out to develop feelings for this person. But one situation after another, one encounter after another, and next thing you know, you're in a charged, intimate, deep-throated kind of situationship or friends with benefits. That can easily happen even after you've said, I don't want to start something with someone who's not available. What stands out for me is that both people, I believe, were sincere. I want to say that right out the gate. I believe they both were sincere. But it becomes more clear that their definitions of available are very, very different. And so it makes me ask the question, what does availability mean to you? When you say that you want a man that's available, what does that mean? And when he says, I am available, what does that mean? What does that mean for him that's different or the same for what it means to you? And I think this series demonstrates it so well that I wanted to kind of bring some context to it. And I'm hoping that by doing so, it will really help you to really get more clear about what availability is for you and what your response should be accordingly. We talked about the chemistry, the kissing, the touching, that dance of romance, that dance of a budding romance, that dance of feelings that deepen, that dance of attraction that deepens, right? But the reality is, you both can have allegiances to things that can hinder your being available for the other. And I have found men's allegiances are more conscious. Their commitment is more clear and it runs more deep than the allegiances that we women have. For instance, a man's allegiance, say, to not wanting to get married is crystal clear to him. But a woman's allegiance to wanting to get married is not as clear. Else she would not continue to be in the relationship or continue to put herself in situations where she's becoming more bonded to a man who every time she brings up marriage says to her, but I don't want to get married. Then 3, 5, 10 years down the road, she has lived with him. They have children. She really wants to get married. he doesn't want to get married. And then she comes to a talk show and asks the relationship expert, how much longer should she wait? What should she do? To those who are watching, it's a no-brainer. But for her, she's got so many feelings invested that her allegiance seems to be more to her feelings invested than to her desire to get married. Else she would not need to ask somebody what she should do. There is a difference, a stark difference in how men and women are when it comes to our definitions of available. This comes up when Sunday is getting ready to have a real special event in her career. I mean, it is a very important night for her. She's getting an award, a prestigious award in her culinary career that could really make her career take off. And she's told Ellis about it, and he's told her he's going to be there. Well, something happens to eclipse that. His soon-to-be ex-wife finds herself stranded. She's having car troubles. It's her. She's with their daughter. And she calls Ellis. And he's kind of like, well, can somebody else help you? You know, he starts going through this thing. Well, can't you call this? Have you called that? Have you done this? Have you done that? Can't somebody help you? And she's like, I've done it, but they can't do this until this. This person's out of town. Listen, I hated to call you, but you were the last resort. We really need you to come and get us. Now, it's a 2-hour drive, one way, to go to get them. Because of that, it would take 2 hours to go and 2 hours to get back. Well, that means he would miss this very important night in Sunday's life. She's frustrated. And she said, but you said you'd be there. And he's like, they need me to help them. I can't see any other way. I've got to go. It appears that his definition of being available means I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not still in love with my soon-to-be ex-wife. There are no residual attachments or feelings toward her. She doesn't have any feelings toward me like that. You know, so I'm available. My heart is available to you. I'm available. I'm not interested in anybody else. I'm not dating anybody else. You have my full attention. All that I am into making this thing work, into this romance. Clearly, that was his definition of being available. But hers is deeper than that. And this situation with him rushing off to save his soon-to-be ex-wife and from being stranded on the side of the road was very telling. Obviously, her definition of being available includes his, but also is somebody who will be there for me. Somebody who will put my needs first. That's her definition of available. It means there is nothing that will stop you from being true to your word. That if you say you're going to do it, I can count on it. Part of her definition of availability is somebody who she can depend on. Someone who she can trust. So that as her feelings develop, he's a safe place. I started looking at that. I wish I could say there's a crystal ball that can tell you whether a man is available or going to be available or he's not. I can't tell you that. I can tell you that there is a journey, however, that you can choose to be on with somebody, or you can choose to not be on it. Emotions can complicate things in the sense that you already are emotionally attached, but it depends on what you're emotionally attached to. Are you emotionally attached to what could be, to what you didn't get the first time that you want to get this time? Are you emotionally attached to the possibility that this could be that great love that got disrupted by life? What are you emotionally attached to? Are you emotionally attached to the story that you keep making up in your mind that maybe this is your turn? To the story that because you have all this chemistry and all this sexy going on, that maybe this can be your forever love and happily ever after? What are you emotionally attached to? That can mean that you're not emotionally available yourself, that you're more emotionally attached to your story than you are available to what the truest you desires and requires in order for you to be happy, in order for you to be fulfilled, in order for this relationship to deliver what it needs to, in order for you to feel safe and to feel secure, to feel seen, to feel heard. All these things are very important to us women. They may be important to men too, but I know how it manifests in us women. What are you loyal to? While his allegiance to his soon-to-be ex-wife might be suspect, there's also your allegiance to your fantasy, to your hopes, to your rationalizing, to the story you've created, to the magical thinking. That is suspect as well, especially to the truest part of you, which is wondering, can I trust you? That's really the part of you that you have to be emotionally available for. That's the part of you that's wondering if you are available. You're wondering if he's available, but the truest you, the you that you keep betraying, is wondering if you are available, if you can be trusted, or if because you want the relationship to work, because this person is attractive, because there's chemistry, because he's saying the things that you want to hear, that you're going to override that truest part of yourself that has seen relationships come and go, that has had to take up the tab for your lack of availability to your truest self. Emotionally availability means you are emotionally accessible and you aren't emotionally bonded to something or someone that would hinder your ability to be there, to be available, to show up. Right? Now, you can be emotional. You can be passionate. You can be sincere and still not be available. You can be a good listener and still not be available. You can mean well and still not be available. Allegiances can make a man or a woman unavailable. And just because you both have feelings for one another does not mean automatically that you're number one in his allegiances. That's something that I had to get in my head, and I urge you to get in yours. That just because you have a talk and you say, listen, let's give this relationship a go and see where it goes. Just because you both agree that that's what you're going to do, it does not mean automatically that you're going to have allegiances in the same place. You might have the same value. You may both value family. You may both be devoted parents. You may both be grandparents. But your level of allegiance may be different. Right? That's just an example. So it's about your allegiance and the priority that it requires out of you right now. It's something that you have to decide with your eyes wide open, not loyal to a fantasy, not even loyal to what he says. Because I hear so often women say, but he said, right? He said he was available. He said he was going to come. And if you need a man that's going to do what he says and not start out the relationship right out the gate, giving you reasons why he can't do what he says, then you need to tell yourself the truth about that and not allow your emotional attachments to upend that. But if you're the kind of person that says, okay, I understand where you are, that yes, you and your ex-wife are on this trajectory. You both agree, you both want the divorce. But you have to also take into consideration that their lives have been intertwined for much longer than this person has been with you. That can complicate a budding romance because of that. And so we women have to be able to take a step back and say, wait a minute, what can I handle and what can I not handle? And I am not going to okie doke myself. Okie doking yourself is the pathway that leads to settling. So that's a path you don't want to take. And a relationship is going to offer you many forks in the road where you have to decide, am I going to be available for somebody who is not available for me? Am I going to allow my emotions, my deep emotions, am I going to allow that to keep me tethered to a sinking ship? And so I say to you, when you compromise your value, it leads to one compromise after another. First compromise, when she said, I don't want to start something with someone who's not available. Well, she crossed her own boundary. She started something with somebody who was not available. Now, one could argue he said he was, but just because he wasn't aware of his own blind spots doesn't mean that she wasn't aware of the blind spot. Sometimes a man is not lying. Sometimes it's just that he's not aware of his blind spot. But you are. And so are you going to be emotionally available to the part of you that can see further and see more and see what he can't see and make a decision for yourself likewise? And it's going to help you not to betray yourself? Or are you going to cross your own boundary? Here's another thing. Oftentimes when a man makes a decision that disappoints a woman, he is quick to say, I'll make it up to you. But you cannot make up a once-in-a-lifetime event. And Sunday told him this was one of those events that anybody who meant anything to you, you really wanted them to be there. And this is something that we often don't see, ladies. The truth is, even though he regretted it, he was willing to disappoint her. He gave himself permission to disappoint her. He gave himself permission as if he had the ability to make up a once-in-a-lifetime event for her. Now, I love my fellas out there, but there are some things that happen in life that when you miss it, you cannot make it up. As wonderful as you are, you cannot make up to someone a once-in-a-lifetime event in their lives. And so when you're considering staying in a relationship, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, as much as he's great in this area, does this man give himself permission to disappoint me? That's a very important question that you need to answer before you've invested so much of yourself that you couldn't afford to lose. Being available is a two-way street. You need to be available for him. He needs to be available for you. And you need to agree about what that looks like. And if he cannot do that, then you have to take a step back and be willing to walk away. And so I say this to say, ladies, we have to tell ourselves the truth. And the only way you can be honest with yourself and tell yourself the truth is to know yourself. There's a part of you that obviously you don't know or you don't respect. If you're going to override, cross your own boundary in a relationship, then it's either you don't know that part of yourself or you don't respect that part of yourself. And I can tell you from personal experience, if you don't respect that part of yourself, the person that you are partnering with is not going to respect it too. You have to be clear about your terms. What are your terms? You cannot know your terms if you are not, one, honest with yourself, know yourself, and respect yourself. And now a special announcement. If you've tried to do love on their terms and it didn't work, I've got the answer. Love on your terms. A free 5-day masterclass that takes you out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat where you belong. To learn more and to sign up, go to SuzetteSolutions.com. That's SuzetteSolutions.com. It's free. It's now. That's SuzetteSolutions.com. I look forward to seeing you there. Men continue to do exactly what they're loyal to. They are not trying to figure out where their loyalty lies. They know where it lies. Now, they don't know their blind spots. And we women are very good at seeing their blind spots. But they know men are used to operating in this world based on what it is they want. They go after it. They don't have to go through emotional calisthenics. If they're clear about their reasons, that's it. They stand their ground. The people who tend to compromise are the women. We are the ones who compromise. We're the ones who accommodate. We're the ones who have boundaries in pencil that we take out our eraser and erase and draw a new line and erase that one, cross that one, draw a new line. Whereas the man, his lines are drawn and he hasn't crossed them. He hasn't crossed them. He won't budge. And we have been conditioned that when a man won't budge, we accommodate. And it doesn't matter whether you're married, single, it's complicated, situationship, friends with benefits. We women are raised, socialized, conditioned, programmed to accommodate what will not budge, to try to work around it, because we don't want to lose whatever it is that we're getting. Whether the payoff is real or imagined, we don't want to lose it. And so we accommodate. Then we kick ourselves later because we realize, oh God, I've settled again. That's why the focus in my Love on Your Terms Masterclass is on you. The focus is on you rediscovering what makes you enough and your worthiness to have love on your terms. It's for you to garner respect with what you need to thrive in your romantic life. It's to help you get clear on that so that you don't find yourself compromising in your dating life, compromising in your married life. To respect yourself enough to hold your ground and let him come to you. Because what I've learned is if you're important enough, he will walk toward you. He will. What we have to do is learn how to be okay in the in-between, in the not knowing which way it's going to go. And when I coach women, I say, you have to be so committed to your terms, to your standards, to your boundaries, to your respect for what you need, that you are willing to walk away. You have to be. If you're not, that familiar accommodator will talk you into coming up with a plausible reason why you should cross this boundary, but yet tell yourself that's not what you're doing. Oh, that accommodator is very savvy because that accommodator grew up with you. That accommodator knows exactly what buttons to press, knows exactly how to present a very compelling argument why you should cross your own boundary, why you should give it a chance, why you should compromise. Well, after all, yeah, his daughter was in the car. He couldn't have left his daughter in the car. You talk yourself out of what you need to feel safe and secure, to feel seen and heard, to feel valued in that relationship. You're creating a relationship where there is no room for you. You're making it impossible for you to stay in this relationship and be okay. You're the one that is fixing this place up to be someplace you gotta leave, because you are accommodating what you should not accommodate. In my Love on Your Terms Masterclass, we deep dive into those areas. Is it me? Is something wrong with me that I keep drawing this? On day 1, we deal with that. On day 2, we deal with, well, what did I do wrong? What was it that made you walk away? Right? On the 3rd day, we're putting a mirror up and showing you who you really are and your superpower to have great love. That's going to be on day 3. On day 4, we're going to look at where the good men are. It's a question that a lot of women ask. Well, where are all the good men? Where are they? And so on day number 4, we're going to talk about where the good men are. And on day number 5, we're going to deal with the mindset of women who are happy in their relationships. Women whose voices are heard. Women who are thriving. So that's what's going to happen at this 5-day masterclass. And of course, there are going to be some other bonus trainings and bonus sessions. But those first 5 days, we're going to really deep dive into those areas where we women tend to compromise the most. And so Love on Your Terms is about respecting your terms and knowing that they are enough. That starts November 7th. It runs November 7th through the 11th. It's for women over 40. The link is SuzetteSolutions.com. So if that's resonating with you, if you know you need it, then go on and register. But it is not for women who are just trying to find a sugar daddy, a Friday night date, or a +1. If all you want is that, then this is not the masterclass for you. If you just want tips and tricks and tactics, this is not the masterclass for you. Because I don't deal in that. I coach from the inside out. Because I realize that even if you get the man, you will sabotage the relationship if you don't feel worthy, if you don't know that your terms matter. Then you'll still be unhappy. You still will be unfulfilled. And so my job is to help you to get clear so that you can become someone that you can trust and that you can be confident in your romantic life. Again, I invite you to register and attend every night, right? Every night, November 7th through the 11th. Go to SuzetteSolutions.com. It's free, it's online, but you still have to register. Okay? Well, until next week, I want you to know that you are 100% worthy. You're 100% worth it. You're 100% enough. Bye now. You have just listened to the Enough Factor podcast with your host, Suzette Vernay. To get notified of new episodes or to dig deeper into today's topic, become a subscriber. And while you're at it, tell us how we're doing and what topics you're interested in. We appreciate your feedback and your reviews. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are worth it, you are enough.